Okay, our slope is also our rate and our m value. Is there a y-intercept for this? Well, there is a y-intercept, but what is the value of this y-intercept? Is there a number listed? No, so we could say it's 0. The y-intercept is 0. And then our equation, y equals what? Yeah, so y equals mx plus b is just going to be y equals 3x. That's it. Okay, so then we just think about, well, if our slope is 3, our rate is 3 times the number of hours she's working, right? That's naturally the question you're going to ask. She says, what's $3 an hour? You're going to say, well, how many hours do I need her to work for? Like 3 hours, 3 times 3 is 9, right? So that's just how these work, right? We say, well, when x is 3 hours, right? That's what we said x meant. 3 times 3, we're going to pay $9. Okay, just a little function, a little equation like that. Let's go to Alma. What? No. 9 is just an example. The answer, right, the equation is y equals 3x. I want you to think about, like, we're going to find solutions to these equations, but when I ask you to find the equation, I'm asking you to find what it is that can give us all of the answers for that line, right? This equation represents the entire line drawn, not just one spot on it, like one little 9 there. Okay. Alma, her slope was $2 an hour. And the y-intercept? $3 reservation fee. Okay, so we say y equals 2x plus 3. Good. Okay, and again, I want you to make a table right here, because this is just a good way to show what all this means, right? Our x. What does x represent in this equation?
Slope.
No, x is not slope. Slope is slope, right? Slope is 2 here. Slope is the amount per hour, right? So x is numbers of hours you're working. So put x hours. And then on the y, on the other side, y, what does y represent in this situation? If you're working, you want to know how much you're going to get. How much you're going to get what?
An hour.
Well, an hour, but what are we talking about? What's this? Money, right? So y is going to be dollars, right? Money. Okay, and then we can start asking the question, right? If I only need a babysitter for an hour, right? If Alma's going to work for an hour, how much am I going to pay her? Well, not much. It's going to be 2 times 1 hour, plus 3, right? What does that equal? We do 2 times 1 is 2. 2 plus 3 is what? 5, yeah. So if she works an hour, she gets $5. She works 2 hours. How much does she make in 2 hours? Yeah, where did I get that from? I used my equation, and instead of x, I put, what is y? What is our y value when x is 1 hour? And I said, well, when x is 1 hour, I do 2 times 1, and I get 2. And I add 2 plus 3 to get 5. If I plugged in a 2, like if I said 2 hours, how much does she get paid? Well, 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 3 is 7. And I could keep going, right? We're going to do one more. What is 2 times 3? 6. Okay, so 6. What is 6 plus 3? 9. Okay, I'm going to stop there because this is an important value right here. Because we've seen it before. Over on Mandy's side. When Mandy worked for 3 hours, she made $9. When Alma worked for 3 hours, she made $9. That is the solution to these equations, right? Before we even look at a graph, the solution is where these two equations give us the same output for the same input, right? If I put a 3 into this equation, I get 9. If I put a 3 into this equation, what is 3 times 3? 9. I get 9. Right? And that only works for one point, right, on the graph. This is the graph to that equation. That's going to be at where x is 3, y is 9. 3, 9. All right, and today I'm also going to show you how to graph on the calculator. Some of you might know how to do this a little bit. This is going to be really helpful. So go ahead and grab your calculator. And I'm going to get out of this real quick. Okay. You're going to go to y, you're going to hit the button y equals, the top left button. You don't have to hit anything before it, you just hit that button, y equals. Everyone get to the screen? This is an important screen, right? This is just like our equation y equals mx plus b. This is letting us type in as many of these equations as we want here. We're just going to, when we're doing system of equations, looking at 2 of them, we're just going to use the top 2. With the y equals button. So now we're just going to type in our equations. What is the equation for Mandy? Y equals 3x. Yeah, so y equals 3. And do y'all know how to type in letters on this? Yeah, you hit alpha, like the alphabet, right? Alpha, and then x is down here on the stow button, stop button. Store button, actually. So 3x. And then you're going to go to your second equation for Alma and type in 2 alpha x plus 3. So we have both of our equations listed. Anybody have trouble with that? No. Good? Cool. And now instead of hitting enter or solve or anything like that, we're just staying up here and we're going to go hit our graph button on the top right. Hit graph. And
I think I did this a little wrong.
ooh, All right, one more time. So you're at y equals. Everyone get there? 3x, 2x plus 3. And then go to graph, and you just hit graph. And what does that look like?
Our line looks a little bit different than yours. Wait, can you go back? It's really wrong.
Okay, here's what everyone needs to do, because the last class probably changed this. Go to window. Click on window. Are your numbers different than mine?
Yeah.
You need to type in -10 on the top. Your second one, you need to type in 10. Your third one should be 1. Fourth one should be -10. And then your y max should be +10. And all this is doing, and we're going to talk about it later, is it's changing how big your graph is, right, for your calculator. It's saying your x minimum is -10, so this number right here. Right now it looks exactly like this graph. Your x maximum is +10, your y minimum is, so it's just how big your table is, how big your graph is. Okay, now you should hit graph and it should show up. Did that happen? Yeah, good, okay. Forgot the calculators wouldn't reset from the last class. So here we go. Now hit second. And then trace. So it's right next to the graph button. Okay, anyone know what thing we're going to try to find?
Intersect.
Intersect, right, where they cross. So go to number 5 and hit enter. Enter, yes, second curve, yes, go ahead and guess. Intersection is at?
X equals 3, y equals 9.
Y equals 9.
So 3.
3, 9. That's the solution to the system of equations. And now you may use your calculator to solve the solutions of equations. Okay, so you'll have this on the test. Anytime I'm giving you a problem that involves them, I'm going to let you do it this way. We're going to get some more practice with it. I know it's a couple buttons to remember, but it's really helpful, especially when the solutions are way over there and stuff. We'll see. Questions on that? All right, and then the solution to the system of linear equations in this problem represents well, what does it represent? It represents that after 3 hours, both, or instead of after, let's say at, I'm sorry, go ahead and X that out or erase it. At 3 hours, both babysitters cost the same.
Now let's go look at the reviews.
And why would we care to know that? Right, why do we care to know when the babysitters cost the same? Kind of actually talked about this on Unit 1. Why does it matter to know at 3 hours they cost the same? Well, when you're hiring somebody, what are you thinking about? How much you got to pay, right? So like if Miss Land and we actually have to, so she has a friend who's moving in from Ireland. She's going to watch her kids for the rest of the year, starting at the end of this month. But we have to think about, how much we're going to pay her and all those kind of things, how much that comes out like per hour. So we're kind of settled on we'll give her $1,000 a month. So be aware when you have kids. What? But and everybody kind of like their jaw drops like, what? That sounds like so much money. It sounds like a lot, but let's kind of think about how much that is per hour. Okay, so we're at school. How long are we at school? Like, how many hours? At 8 hours? Yeah. Okay, so let's put an 8 here. There's 8 hours in a school day, and then how many school days per week? 5. So 8 times 5, that's how many hours a week that we would need her for. And then how many weeks in a month about? About 4. Okay, so then multiply that amount by 4.
It's 160.
Yeah, it'd be 160. So that's 160 hours a month. Okay. And then how could we tell if we want to pay her $1,000 a month, right? We just say, well, what's $1,000 divided by 160 hours? Somebody do that for me.
$6.25.
50 cents.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's how much that would be an hour. Which is not a lot, right? We're giving her the reason she can live off that is because she also gets free housing. So it really comes out to her. No, she's actually her Hannah's parents have a little place above their garage type thing, but it's nice. So. But yeah, so basically when Hannah and Miss Land and I sat down and we kind of talked it out, said we think this is a good amount because she's also going to get, kind of free living, and that comes out to about, $10 an hour. If you calculated how much that would normally cost. Yeah, I was like.
Who did the calculations this time?
Miss Land drew a nice picture of the house. But so $6.50 an hour. And so when we think about like, okay, what babysitter do we want to use, or if you think about like what your first job is going to be. Have any of y'all worked before? I know you have. What do you mean?
At the nurse.
At the nurse. Yeah, I can write you fast.
That's not a job. Just for information.
So what job have you worked, Daniel?
Huh?
So what job have you worked?
Oh, construction before.
You spell my name wrong all the time.
Oh yeah, it's with a Y, isn't it? How do you spell it?
O-N-G-Y.
Exactly.
Spell it like the city.
Construction, painting,
No, your last name.
name it.
What about you, Anna?
Construction.
Construction, yeah. That's great.
No. I don't even got to add.
Okay, well, like one of my first, I worked for my parents, but after that, my first job I got by myself was bagging groceries at Kroger, and I only worked there for like a year, but
What Kroger? The one?
I'm from Houston, so I was not here. But they paid me minimum wage then, which was like $7.25, not a lot. Yeah, I don't know what minimum wage is now. What?
It's like still. Yeah.
You what?
Think so.
You just into here? Marriage. This place is a lot better than Houston, though. Y'all probably don't realize how good Denison is, but yeah, I know y'all don't because all you've known is Denison. But like, when I have people come from like our friend from Ireland, or we had people come from London, and or one of my best friends is from the Middle East, Lebanon, but they're just like, it's amazing here, just different things. But yeah, I know you don't realize it. I know you don't. But living in Houston, I realize it. I'm very thankful for how Denison is. But anyway, my point being with all that is when you get that first job, you're gonna realize something, right? Like I had to realize pretty quickly, if I'm making $7.25 an hour and I spend $12 a day on lunch, right? And that's not a good recipe for success, right? Because that's almost 2 hours of work for just to get lunch, right? So then you start packing your lunch, and then that's a lot better. But these little when you're babysitting, right? If you babysit, right, you need to know how much you're going to charge, how much you're going to want to pay per hour, and it's probably going to be something like this. It's probably going to be, I want to make. How much would you want to make an hour, Skylar?
I don't know.
Well, think about it. How valuable is your time? $10 an hour? That's pretty average.
I make that much, yeah.
Yeah, $10 an hour. Okay, so then you would just say y equals 10 times x. So how much are you making if you work for 4 hours? $40, right? So you would have a table. You could say 1 would be 10, 2 would be 20, 3 would, and it's easy with 10, right? But if you're going to get paid $10.50 an hour or something like that, you need a little equation like this, because then you're going to be y equals 10.5x. And if I said, well, how much are you going to make in 4 hours now? Right, you would want to do a little math, right? And it would be, what, 44? 42, I mean, yeah.
Man, I didn't even get paid like that.
You live in the house.
No, I mean, that's what
Y'all get paid. Y'all
it's
get
like-
free lodging, and you get fed, and
So my
you get
parents,
paid every day.
it was called to discipline me. Was called, they sent me, I guess my dad knew this guy, and then he sent me to go work with them, like, for the summer.
That's great.
And I found out the house that we were working on
Uh-huh.
was literally down my road.
Oh, really?
And man, that guy was barely paying me. It was like $7 an hour.
That's good. $7 an hour for when you're what, 13?
I guess.
That's good money for 13. Yeah, 13, 14. Oh
At
yeah.
the end of the day, I got like.
Oh yeah.
Mr. Lane, how much do you make an hour?
How much do I make an hour? I make around 20. $10 each. $10 each online, but you must pay an internet service charge of $8 per order. Okay, so $10 per ticket is going to be 10 times how many tickets you buy,
It's hard.
and you must pay an internet service charge of $8 per order. So that's going to be plus 8, right? And the most common place you see that is with shipping, right? How many of y'all buy stuff online yourselves? Yeah, okay. There's always, your total is whatever, $39.99 plus $5 shipping. Right, or plus 10, or if it's really bad, plus $20 shipping, and then you're like, whatever, I'm going somewhere else.
Whatever.
What?
I've been starting to use that honey thing.
Oh yeah, that works. I use that too. Yeah, honey.
And I thought it was all fake until I tried that one.
No, it works out. But anyway, yeah. So that's what I always think of. That right there. That when you see shipping costs, that's Y-intercept. That's a one-time payment, right? Your total shipping costs. That one-time here, the service charge of $8 per order. That's also going to be our one-time payment, right? So if you're going to a concert with 5 friends, right, and the tickets are $10 each, how much are you paying? $50. If there's a service charge of $8, how much are you paying?
8 times.
Not 8 times.
58.
58.
But how? If
Because-
you have 5 people, you have to do 8 times 5.
No, because it's a one-time service charge per order.
Oh.
Right.
I didn't hear the order part.
Yeah, per order. So the equation for the internet tickets, or you can put online, it's an easier word, internet tickets, the slope is going to be 10, right? It's $10, and that represents what?
The rate.
Not how many tickets, it's the rate or the cost per ticket. Cost per ticket, yeah.
I'm gonna just put rate.
Put rate per ticket though. That's the important part, that you're designating that in this situation, because slope and rate are kind of mean the same word. And then the y-intercept we said was $8, and that represents this service charge, whatever that means. Some of that stuff is just bull honky. Service charge. Okay. Math Slayer 5000.
Is it really?
No, it'd be great though. I should change it.
What?
Okay, the equation for I don't know, the door tickets. Let's just say door tickets. So you show up. The slope is $12, and that represents just ticket cost again. Okay, cost per ticket. And then is there a y-intercept on this one? Well, technically yes, there is, but what is it? It's 0, yeah. Okay, and that represents
What? Nothing.
nada.
It's like a dummy throwing that.
That is like a doctor, yeah. No nada.
What is not in here? No?
Nothing.
Is it in Spanish?
No.
Shut up, I don't know it.
No sé. Okay. X represents our tickets bought, right? That's the obvious question you want to ask is, well, how many tickets are we buying? Tickets bought. And then what would Y represent, guys? What does Y typically represent when you're buying something?
Man, y'all some copycat.
Total
Total money.
money. Yeah. How many cabbages, right?
Cabbage.
Oh, y'all don't call money cabbage?
No.
That's probably too old for you, I guess.
Total money, that's it?
Yeah, total money.
Coins.
When I was in middle school, we'd say that's a lot of cabbage for money.
Why would you call it cabbage?
I don't know. It's just the
What is
thing.
cabbage even? It's a vegetable, right?
Money. It's a You're a cabbage?
All I know
Wait, isn't cabbage?
my grandmother made my brother. That's what I thought. Cabbage was a vegetable.
Cabbage is not lettuce.
What is it? What is it?
Bro, that's a cabbage thing.
Y'all know, like, y'all have had sauerkraut before, right?
Nah, I don't like
My
that.
grandmother
Ew.
my brother was
Bro, it's hot in here.
cabbage.
Have you ever eaten flavors?
Cabbage is
I don't know
good.
where your
It
flavor
was not.
It is good. If you cook it right, it's good with some bacon.
You're wearing dark colors. So color.
Make some sauerkraut and put it on like a on bratwurst. You can't? That's a big difference.
I don't know why you say it, Daniel.
All right.
Sit down.
So now, I didn't really give enough room for the equation. So put a bar over here, like a line, and on this side we're going to write our equation over here. Y equals 10x plus 8, and on this side it's y equals 12.
I'm
X.
confused. Why?
Pay
Because it's
attention.
London.
All right. All of the buttons on the calculator are here, but this is the situation. No, this one will work. I think it's the next one. So we'll go ahead and type this one in. So again, follow along. Don't get lost or confused.
Wait, y equals?
Y equals,
Wait, I have to clear it.
clear it, clear
How do
it.
you do that?
The clear button.
Put it on the graph thingy.
It's not my intent. I only want it to hurt a little bit because that means you're working.
Wait, migraine.
It'd be like if you were at the gym and you're like, oh, this doesn't hurt at all, right? Then you wouldn't be doing anything.
Give me migraines.
I'm tired, but I'm hyper at the same time. I don't know what's happening.
My thingy is messed up again.
All right, so we type in 10 alpha x. That's our first equation. Plus 8. Sorry, plus 8. They definitely cross each other. They're not parallel. 12 alpha x.
And then, wait.
We're just typing in our equations. It says, like look at this. Everybody pause for a second. Look at the board. this says y1, meaning our first equation. Y equals 10x plus 8. There that is. Second one, y equals 12x. Right? Those are our equations. Now we're going to hit graph. Okay.
That's a little wonky.
They will cross. We don't, right, because they're coming closer together. We don't see it on the screen, but we don't have to, right? Because our calculator is a little bit smarter than.
So mine is
That's a lot.
Is your answer
Oh.
no or is missing?
Mine looks different. Hold on. Let me see your whatchamacallit thingy.
Mine's giving me an error. And that's just an extra paper.
That's what's
What,
wrong.
Hayden?
Okay. Did everyone get to this screen?
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just say yes.
No, I'm really not there.
I'm going to come around and check everybody's on this one, okay? So then hit second. Excuse me?
Finish that.
I didn't say anything.
And calculate. All right? Again, just read. Don't think about memorizing. Just read it. We're trying to find the intersect, right? So you're going to hit 5 or go down to 5. And you're going to say, yeah, well, I want it for the first curve, the second curve, and guess. The intersection is at x equals 4, y equals 48. I want to come see this screen on everybody's calculator before we move on.
I don't have a screen.
Wait, how does it? Wait.
What?
One more time. So you have your graph.
Uh-huh.
Hit second and then trace. It's this button right here, right? The left one of graph.
I knew that.
And then
I clicked on
Yeah, we're finding the intersects. And you got to hit enter 3 times. Once, twice, third, and there's the intersection. Okay, so I'm going to come around and 4, 48.
It's where they intersect.
It's where they intersect. What does our x mean in this situation?
I have no clue.
tickets bought.
The tickets bought. Wow, that was great.
4 tickets bought, they said $48.
Y. What does Y represent?
The total money.
Total money. So when you buy, so let's think about it. When you buy 4 tickets for either situation, how much are you going to pay?
$48.
$48, right? So if you have 4 people going to this concert, does it matter if you buy them online or at the door? It doesn't matter, right? It'll come out to be the same cost. Okay, if you bring 5 people, one of the equations is going to be better than the other. One of the situations will be better, one will be worse. Okay, but that's the solution. That's where they cross. So it represents when each situation costs the same. Each situation costs the same. All right, we got one more to do.
Stomach hurt.
I'm sorry. I really am. I don't know what to do about it, though. Okay. And Xbox One costs $400 and about $19.50 for each game. All right. How many of y'all play Xbox or PlayStation, by the way? So I can get a couple of y'all. You do? Yeah. What do y'all? Raise your hand if you play Xbox. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Raise your hand if you play PlayStation. You can raise your hand if you do both. So there's 2 of y'all? 2 of y'all play? Okay, so more Xbox. This was, so like Xbox One, that came out when I was in high school, I think. Maybe middle school, can't remember. $400, $19.50 for each game. And then a PlayStation costs $300 and about $23.50 for each game. Okay, so let's go ahead and get the equations first, and then we'll talk about this, right? How many games need to be purchased for an Xbox One user and a PlayStation user to spend the same amount of money? Right? Well, the solution is that point, right? The solution is where you're spending the same amount for the same amount of games. So our equation for Xbox One, let's just write the equation here. Xbox is going to be, it's going to be y equals, our slope, is our slope $400? Our rate $400? Is our rate $19.50? $19.50. Yeah, I would hate to pay $400 every time you wanted to play a game or buy a game. So it's $19.50 times the number of games you buy plus $400. Very good. $19.50. So our slope is $19.50. Go ahead and fill this out. And represents games.
Mr. Lynn, what year did you graduate?
High school, I
Back in my day.
think 2013.
Oh, so I was lying when I told my sister.
Y-intercept,
Waited 3 years for my brother graduated.
Y-intercept is 400, yes?
Were you born when Nintendo came out?
Around then.
Nintendo 360?
I had a Nintendo 64.
I had one of those.
Y-intercept represents the Xbox, right? The system.
I still have one.
Okay? Over here we have Y equals 2350 per game, so 2350 times X. And then we're going to add on our system, which costs $300. Okay? And then you can fill out the slope and Y-intercept information. Here's something I might not know. Do any of y'all know that anytime PlayStation, so Sony, the company, actually sells a PlayStation, they actually lose money?
Games. You're supposed to be writing games right there.
Games. Thank you. I lost my train of thought. Did y'all know that?
No.
Anytime Microsoft sells an Xbox, they also lose money.
Why?
That's a good question. Why do y'all think?
Xbox insurance. Who's what Xbox?
No, that's
They have to buy more.
I bet.
I was about to have you start teaching for us, Skylar, and then just,
They have to
Didn't you mess
purchase
up?
more parts to make more Xbox.
you have to what?
Purchase more parts, which is more expensive than the Xbox.
You know, you could have put
Wait, so not quite. Okay, but you're thinking on the right way. Why do these companies? Why does Sony sell PlayStations if they lose money every time they sell one?
because they get more money out of it.
Why? What do you mean?
Like they'll get, how much do they lose?
Actually, Gavin just said it.
What'd you say?
What'd you say, Gavin?
Uh,
What'd you say?
I said because they make their games like $80.
Because they make their games like $80. Okay, and how much do you think it costs? I don't know if they're all still on discs like this. How much do you think it costs to make a disc like this?
about
Like $5.
About 2 cents.
what? Why do they make them $8?
I can make them for free because
Why do they make them? Why do they make games $60 then? Well, yeah, okay, it's expensive to make it, so it's not like they're ripping you off or anything. But really, the way to think about it, we'll do break in a second. If an Xbox cost the amount it costs them to make it, right, and to produce it and stuff, right? If an Xbox cost $1,000, how many of you would own it? Or $2,000? How many of you would own an Xbox?
Not many of us.
Not many of y'all, right? No, but think about how many games do you have on it? Like how many games do you have, boss? Probably 10 of them, right? And 10 times, say they're $50 each, right? So $500, right?
And just on 10 games.
Yeah, just on 10 games, right? Some people have like 20 games or 30 games, right? So they make all of their revenue, right? The money they get to keep. They make their money off of games, right? That's how game systems do it. It's not a bad thing. It's just because they know if they sold their system for profit, right? If they sold their Xbox for $1,500, nobody would buy it, right? But if they sell their Xbox for $500 and then charge $50 a game, people will buy the system and then buy the games. And that's why there's, the Xbox PlayStation Wars, is because they want you to have their console because they have games for that console, and that's how they make their money.
Their war games be
Mr. Land, you're still recording.
That's fine.
Okay.
And maybe YouTube wants to know this. And so, but there's other things that do that too. So like printing, my parents, I've told you all, they have a printer company. But think about what's the most expensive part about having a printer? The ink, right? The ink, the toner, right? The cartridges. Like if you've ever bought those, you gone to the store with your parents, like Office Depot, and bought, right? It's like 60, 70, 50, yeah, just for a little thing. I know. And every time you buy it, you're like, oh my gosh, they're ripping me off, right? But it's because they sell their printers. You can get a printer for $200, and it may cost them $500 to make it, right? That's what you don't realize. So that's why, and that there's a whole kind of business model that different places do that. But just good to know. Okay. Let's finish this up, and then we'll do our break. I'll give you all 5 minutes. X represents our GamesBot. Yeah.
Mr. Land, what's your YouTube channel?
I told you, Math Slayer 2000.
No, it's not, bro.
No, it's not. I already looked it up. It should be on school.
It's on. The link is on Schoology. Okay. X represents games bought, and then Y represents the system. Right, the system purchased. System purchased. Okay. And here is the one that takes a little bit of extra button pushing. There's not going to be one like this on the test, but you do need to know how to do it. Because occasionally you'll get a problem like this where you'll be like, why is it not showing me the right answer? So, first of all, let's just type in our equations. All right, so clear these, and then I'll give you all a minute to type those in because it's a little more numbers. 1950 alpha x. And then 2350 alpha x.
Can you stay on that for a second?
Yeah, I will.